Hi, Craig.
Hello, Craig.
Suck my dick.
How dare you talk to Craig like this?
Craig is a friend, companion. Done nothing
And a
wrong.
lover.
Ooh.
Oh, so that's how you're using AI these days?
It's the only ethical way to use it.
When is ChatGPT going to use my fleshlight in ways that even I don't know how to use it?
Teledildonics is the future.
It sure is. It sure is.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
I hope M
absolutely.
uses it. Welcome to.
I mean, the podcast is literally called
Welcome-
Balls Deep.
welcome to
I'm
Balls
going
Deep.
balls deep. I'm following the name of this podcast. What do you want from me? I've got needs. I keep telling you, these times in which you record this podcast is the hentai power hour. I am not lying when I tell you that.
M, if you were to edit this, I don't know if this should be a cold open or if this should be at the end.
Okay, man, are you ready to go? I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
I think there's got to be at least. There's got to be at least one basketball hentai, right?
Oh God, is there a basketball hentai?
There has to be.
I can't.
There has to be.
Nope. Need to stop.
What are the basketball sexual puns? Like, I'm gonna slam dunk you.
Yeah, that's the first time I
Okay.
thought of it. I'm gonna toss it in from
Take you to
downtown.
the rack.
Yep, that's a
That's
good one.
probably a good one, right?
Go hard in the paint. I mean, that always
Oh,
sounds sexual
fuck
to me.
yeah.
Take you down to the low post.
Yeah. go
There's
to
a
the po-
boxing out, something to be done. Yeah.
We got this.
Hello, Internet.
Oh, right.
You know that
Gina,
Pinguino
we got a
Greco
podcast.
here. Hello, Internet. You know that Pinguino Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. And today we are going deep into the NBA and basketballs. Joining me, as always, to discuss all things basketball, one Pete Busby, the tallest co-host of this podcast.
I don't know if y'all have heard about this, but apparently Luka Doncic is on the Lakers now. How long's this been going on?
At least 1 to 2 weeks.
Wow, that's pretty long.
At least. And we are also joined by one Chris Zombie Pie Redacted. How are you doing, ZP?
I want to point out that, oh boy, when was this offer provided? This was all the way back 04/04/2025. There was an offer that was sent to people like myself that live in the area to watch the Kings and the Oakland A's. It was called the Tower Bridge Doubleheader, where you could watch a Kings game, regular season Kings game, as well as an A's game, also in Sacramento, 2 for $60. To which, other people pointed out $60 for the worst fucking day of your life.
I wouldn't pay that. That's just me, though. So you might be wondering,
just like real thing. Sorry to like interrupt, but like this is maybe the first time where I think we all of us, Nuggets fan, Kings fan, 76ers fan, I think we're all basically at a different stage of, man, fuck.
I certainly
Right?
am.
I'm excited. I am excited. I am happy
I'm
and
excited
joyous.
for the playoffs, but our teams, fuck, dude.
Oh, the best player in the world is on my team and healthy. I'm really not.
Your team is fucked after like this playoff series. Like, how are you going to keep everyone together?
We'll get into it. I'll
But
spin
like
you a
everyone's
tale.
fucked. We're all fucked.
Spin
This
you a
is
tale.
the world's on fire.
No,
This was maybe
no.
the most unwatchable regular season.
Nah. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna get through it. It'll be fine. The Nuggets will be fine. Everything's fine. Okay, before we get into discussing the NBA, just so you know, we had recorded a preseason show and then it got eaten by the internet. We had recorded one. So we do have all of our preseason picks, so we'll go over that. But I apologize for not having a show at the beginning of the season. That is why. We didn't do one during the season because, damn it, every single time something was like, we need to record, then another crazy thing would happen. And now here we are at the end of the season, and madness has happened every single week. So we will try to cram as much madness into this show as we possibly can. Before we get into the show, our normal plugs, you can get in touch with the show, deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com or deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and you can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens, get you access to our Discord, and at the $3 tier, it would get you access to the OG Soncast, which you two are on, and you're recording about Big O soon?
Yes.
Sure.
Big O,
Yes.
yeah. Speaking of getting in touch with the show, we got an email.
Hey.
Whoa,
That's
what?
nice. Is it basketball related?
It's a basketball email. I've been holding
shit.
on to it.
NJ for Life fan is back?
A
No.
B-mail.
A B-mail for B-ball. This comes in from William. Hey, Balls Deep crew. I was in a discussion with the Granimal yesterday, and we thought these questions were worth sending in to get your thoughts. 1. Assuming your goal is overall team success, who would you rather have on your team, Prime Shaq or Prime Jokic? Please elaborate on what influenced your decision. Pete, as the tallest person on the podcast, I feel you're most qualified. Prime Jokic or Prime Shaq?
Gosh, that's a tough one, honestly. That's harder than you
Okay.
might have thought. I don't know, 3 years ago? What year am I playing in? Like today's game?
Let's assume we're playing with current rules.
Oh, then it's Jokic.
Yeah, then it's
Sorry.
Jokic.
I mean, I think that it's Jokic either way, honestly. Just because.
No,
Why?
no. I mean, if we're going old school rule set pre 2008, like absolutely Shaq would be a better player equipped for that because we're just taking contested jumpers and slam dunking it. Also, the defense on the perimeter would have been
Jokic.
completely different because you have hand checking. So
Jokic is
the
a better
floor
shooter.
spacing that Jokic provides would be a little bit harder to provide. Also, I'm going to take the controversial stance when we talk about this whole thing of Shaq, Prime Shaq. I have a hot take.
Okay.
Prime Shaq is actually Orlando Shaq because that was the only era he played good defense on.
Probably the only era he was in shape before the playoffs, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So back when Shaq gave a shit on defense other than getting blocks and rebounds in the post, he was actually like genuinely good on defense.
So I would say I would take Jokic in both eras. My reasoning being he's better at shooting than Shaq from everywhere, and he's just about as unstoppable inside as Shaq is. He does it differently. He doesn't just knock a guy out of the way all the time. He can do that. He can do that, but he's got like Hakeem Olajuwon's post moves, and also he's a 45% three-point shooter. Like, I think he would be an alien if you put him into Shaq's era. I don't know what you would do with him. There's no one even had half of his skills on offense at the big position at the time.
So, like, I would argue Shaq's playoff apex, and maybe I'm biased as a Philadelphia guy, but when he took reigning defensive player of the year Dikembe Mutombo and tore him in half for a series. Like,
All
what
right.
is Jokic's playoff highlight? Like, playoff high that I can match up with that?
I mean, he dropped 50 on Rudy Gobert, reigning defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert.
It's pretty
last
good.
year.
I know, Pete, you know this, but I do want to just say it's important to note that Dikembe had like two fingers working on one hand. He literally had like half his hands taped together.
Yeah.
Like that 76ers team, other than AI, was nothing but a bunch of people whose bodies were literally busted. by
What?
the time they
VP,
make the
Matt
finals.
Geiger, Eric Snow? These are all-time names.
You can
These are names
have a
that people
debate,
know.
and I've definitely had this debate of which team is the worst team to make the NBA Finals. Is it that team, or is it the Jason Kidd New Jersey Nets?
Or the Jimmy Butler Heat that the
No, I think that Jimmy Butler is better than any of the players. Like they had more, like Bam and Jimmy
That's true.
together is a better two-headed monster than the Jason Kidd Nets and AI leading a completely fucking like busted, like
What a
truly
weird-
broken.
What a weird
76ers
roster, too. Raja Bell was on it. Nazar Muhammad.
one other thing I Pete, for your what is Jokic's big highlight? He was so good on offense against the Heat that like defensive player of the year candidate Bam Adebayo basically couldn't guard him at all. It was such a problem. Like Anthony Davis got traded off the Lakers in many ways because he could not guard Nikola Jokic. So I don't know who's supposed to guard him at this point, where it's supposed to be impressive that they guarded him well.
Wait, you think they traded Anthony Davis because he couldn't guard Jokic?
I mean, I think it was very futile. I mean, they should have done it just for Luka, but I mean,
yeah, that's like Lakers, 8th on the list of reasons.
8th on the list of reasons, but like they got whipped so many times the same way. Like the Lakers were offered a golden ticket, but also as they were structured, didn't work. Partially because they just kept running into a dude who Anthony Davis couldn't guard, and who could guard Anthony Davis well enough on the other side. We have a second question. Who do you think would be more likely to win in a one-on-one matchup, Prime Jokic or Prime Shaq? This is not meant to be a who is better comparison, just which player's skills will be more successful than the other player's skills one-on-one.
One-on-one is going to be Prime Shaq.
Yeah, Prime Shaq takes that.
Yeah. This is why the one-on-one debate is kind of pointless, because all Shaq needs to do is turn his back and he's fucking getting to the post and dunking the ball. That's all he needs to do. Jokic is going to do a bunch of... His skill set doesn't really lend itself to a one-on-one matchup.
No,
and
he's like a force amplifier.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the most efficient one-on-one player in the NBA right now.
But his style of one-on-one efficiency doesn't do well against a one-on-one matchup with like that Prime Shaq
clear the
game.
Court.
Yeah.
I mean, the question is, can Shaq go around or through Jokic every time? Because he cannot shoot.
Does not care.
Probably.
He's going to
the answer might be probably. But Jokic is 7 foot 280. Like he is comparable to some of the mooks.
There were multiple teams that thought that the solution to Prime Shaq was, what if we got someone that was just equally bigger and girthier, and it didn't work. The only time it really worked was when you had someone that was a fucking physical freak or a defensive mastermind like Ben Wallace.
Jokic
that was gifted in different areas.
4th in the league in steals. I think the answer might be who gets the ball first.
The one thing about Shaq also is like the only time that he got swiped or got blocked was when he would go up for the slam dunk rather than like swiping the ball out of his hands. And that's not how Jokic usually gets his steals.
Not usually. I think who gets the ball first matters a whole lot. I think who gets the ball first would determine more than you'd think. But yeah, I think Shaq in a one-on-one situation could just probably go around Jokic a lot of times. He was ridiculously fast for someone that big. And then, let's see. If you need further clarifications on these questions, please let me know. With all the love I can muster, XXX 420 Quick Scoper 69 XXX. And in case you were wondering, those X's are intercapped. And P.S. Billy, if you're out there listening, you cannot take a chimp in a fight. That was the email. That wasn't me. For the record, Billy. Thank you for writing in, William.
Yeah, we all agree with that opinion, though, Billy. So let's just get that on record, too.
Yes, that's also true. As I voiced at your wedding. So, without further ado, the NBA. What happened? What happened this year? Should we start with our previews, or do we want to vent? Maybe we should vent first. Have a little session. We burn some sage. We clear the air a little bit. Because everyone's seasons got a little weird today. ZP. Actually, no, Pete, your season, your 76ers probably had the most depressing season of all three.
Sure.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, is it the 76ers or is it the Suns?
I mean, of the three of us.
Oh, okay. Of us, yeah.
It's the Suns in the NBA. But it's Pete, your 76ers, probably the second most depressing season in the NBA this year. How you doing?
Oh, I mean, we're toast. The only small solace I get is perhaps more people will admit that the process was a Ponzi scheme all along, and they were just paying down the present with the hope of future returns. That I'm willing to say never much materialized. And now things are sad, and I don't know, is Embiid going to be gone soon? Is he going to ride it out here? Who knows? That's for Daryl Morey to decide. But we're toasted. And I think we knew we were toasted when we got Paul George. I think the sign for any team that their title window has slammed shut is when somebody in upper management decides Paul George is the piece to put us over the hump. Happened with the Clippers. Now it happened with us.
I'm with the Thunder too.
Yeah, everybody.
You really think that you can't cut bait and just build around Tyrese Maxey moving forward?
So here's why you can't. When do you think Joel Embiid's contract ends?
Dear Lord. I don't know, 3 more years?
So what season would that be? Do you think it's 27, 28?
What we're in? So we're in
24,
4-5 now. 4-5, 5-6, 6-7. I mean, God, I hope it's 6-7. The way you're describing it makes me think it's 7-8.
You're also wrong. It's 8-9.
Dear
2028,
Lord.
2029. He has a player option
Jesus
for
Christ.
$67 million.
Dear Lord.
His extension,
fuck.
his extension doesn't kick in until next year.
Oh my
Oh
God.
God.
It's worse
So
than I thought.
Oh boy. You can't even trade that fucking contract 2 years from now.
No,
Fuck
who would
me,
take
man.
it?
No, he's
God, like, imagine how many number ones would you have to attach for somebody to take that?
I don't know, but he's not going to be playing basketball. I'm going to venture a
Yeah,
guess.
I don't think
won't
he
be playing
finishes that
basketball.
contract. So maybe if
No, I
you
don't
do
think so.
take the ones,
But, I mean,
you're
he
going to
could just,
basically.
he'd just be on your roster and taking the money. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
Sure,
he doesn't
yeah,
have
just
to retire.
good luck charm that we all don't get depressed at
Yeah.
while he's sitting there.
God, how many decades if you wanted to stretch his contract?
I mean, it would be like the Mets when they did it for like 30 years. They're
Bobby
still paying
Bonilla
that one now.
Day.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, so he's getting $51 million this season. Next season is 55, then 58, and 62, then 67 million.
Christ, when did they sign that?
That was 2 years ago?
He signed the extension last year, last September,
He signed that last mid-September. My
2024.
God.
September 2024. He signed this extension. So this year, like I said, this isn't even the extension. The extension kicks in next year and is a 4-year extension
God,
with a
remember,
player option on the end.
Well, Paul George is tapped in 27-28, and he also that last year is a player option, which
He'll
considering where his
exercise.
health has been, he's probably taking his player option. So if you did try to trade him, you basically need to trade him to a team that's willing to take him for 3 years.
Honestly, like, what's the rationale? Could we just shut the franchise down? We just contract the Sixers, and then in 2 years, we're like, oh, we're back. Fresh slate.
I mean, isn't the answer basically doing what the Rockets did? You sell everything you can for parts, trade every single thing you can, and then you suck for 3 to 4 years. You just suck shit. You're the laughing stock of the league again, like it was 10 years ago. And then you get another person to foist all of Philadelphia's dreams on.
That's it, right? That's what they're going to make me relive the process.
Yeah, basically.
This is my penance.
You trade Maxey.
No.
Look, he's the only thing of value on the roster. Right? George is not of value. Like, maybe you can get someone to take Paul George or Joel Embiid because they are desperate. Maybe you can trade him, one of them, to the Suns or something, right? Like, maybe you can trade our bad contract for your bad contract, and maybe you get some chaff, right?
I mean, we also have Andre Drummond. Let's not forget.
How could you? How could you forget Andre Drummond on a minimum contract?
God, these names. Who's Eric Gordon, too? I forgot about that.
Yeah. I just loved the beginning of this season when everyone was saying the 76ers have won the offseason. They've done it again. Daryl Morey, he's done it again. Eric Gordon, Ersan Yabusele, Kelly Oubre Jr. This is the squad. Here we go. And then it's like, oh, wait, our whole team is predicated on Joel Embiid having a functional knee.
I will say, like, as depressing as this all is, and it is very, very depressing, I don't necessarily have a problem with them bringing back Morey and Nick Nurse. Because, like, what's a GM or a coach change going to do at this point? Nothing. Like, you're just riding this out.
I have a problem with keeping Nick Nurse because he seems to be an asshole. So
Yeah,
you probably
that's
just don't
fair.
want him around when the vibes will be bad anyway. Seems like bad vibes. Daryl Morey is probably going to cut bait and run like he did with Houston. Like he spends down your credit card and then he bolts.
I don't know. I mean, but if you can convince him to stick around, he is genuinely like the thing that you can always say is that he is good at scouting talent. Like he was aware of, I need to get this James Harden guy, even though some people don't like his style of game when he was still on OKC.
He's like a difference maker. Like so many GMs are like just interchangeable. Like they're all more or less the same. Morey at least does something.
He does,
but
but
not as good.
My issue is he does too much. He seems to think that every year, if you have more than 2 or 3 players on the team who were on the team last year, it's a problem. Like he treats every role player as that they are completely fungible and expendable. And that's why he keeps winning off seasons is like the names are different every time. You know, it's someone you like this year and whoever was the bum last year, they're not on the team anymore. But he runs as fast as he can just to stay in the same place, I find. A lot of the time. Like there were years with the Harden Rockets where they changed point guards every year. And like every year they got in a different point guard who was like a borderline all-star. And they were kind of the same team. No, except until they got Chris Paul.
Okay. We've enjoyed my misery long enough. Let's
on to ZP's misery.
Yeah.
Tell me about your Kings, your Chicago Kings.
Well, they're probably, I mean, I said my piece when we did the Game of the Year podcast where I went on a fucking rant and then things got better and they started winning games and it's like, well, a pie in my face. And then shortly after that win streak, they fired Mike Brown, which was not a very smart decision. But it was supposed to be the sign that they were favoring De'Aaron Fox in whatever world they found themselves in, whatever universe. Which the history of siding with your biggest player instead of your coach in any scenario, there's a dark history to that, generally speaking.
I'm sure that by siding with the best player, they got to keep, their best player, right?
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, it turns out, oh, wait, no, De'Aaron Fox actually liked Mike Brown, saw the franchise for what it was, requested a trade, and that narrowed the field or winnowed the field to the only logical place for him to go, which is San Antonio. And the Kings basically have the Chicago Bulls from 5 years ago, except today, and 1 first-round pick for De'Aaron Fox, which is not the worst trade we saw this year. It's not even like the top 5 worst trade this year.
In the calendar year, sure.
There were much worse trades, and they got a first round. They got technically 2 first-round picks. The problem is that they ain't getting that Atlanta Hawks pick. Fuck. So they basically got 1 for De'Aaron Fox, which to me signs or signals they had this trade in mind.
Oh yeah,
since the beginning of the year, and they didn't properly shop out Fox. So this was the team. This was the team they wanted at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, they desperately wanted to be the Chicago Bulls of 3 years ago with a different Eastern European playing center.
And the Kings did actually make a play when it made sense. When Zach LaVine was a restricted free agent, when his contract got expired, they did pay him the maximum money that you can offer someone who's a restricted free agent. And it actually made sense at the time, like 4 years ago. That made genuine sense pairing him up against De'Aaron Fox. That team pays no defense, but at least you have 2 players that have the right pace. The problem is the Bulls matched it, and then we had egg in your face, and you decided to then draft Marvin Bagley.
ZP, allow me to ask something. I'm going to be vulnerable for a second. I'm going to share my foibles. I don't watch many Kings games.
No,
You know, it's my secret
you're
shame.
fine.
What's their offense like these days? Is it still like dribble handoffs? Is that still what we're looking at here, or have they sort of switched things
Kind
up?
of, except now Sabonis is very confused as to what his role is because the player that was a very natural fit for him is gone, and you've replaced him with DeMar DeRozan and Zach Levine, who you kind of don't need Sabonis to do. And the weird thing is like we have a version of Zach Levine who is shooting decently. He has these
And
moments
Malik
where
Monk, you mean?
yeah, Malik Monk has been great. Like that's the thing is like I feel very confident that the Kings can trade Monk and get at least something tangible from trading Malik Monk.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Levine in the short sample size that we have leads the league in 3-point percentage at 44.5% while he was a King. So he's doing fine. Problem is that you're starting Zach Levine in the year of our Lord 2025.
And DeMar
Keon Ellis
DeRozan.
might
Together.
actually be good. Like Keon Ellis might actually be good.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good backup guard.
Yeah, he's a good backup guard. If your plan is to maybe eventually have him start, I don't feel terrible about that. But so are we keeping Sabonis? Probably not. You're probably not going to keep Sabonis. And now that you've fired Mike or you fired your coach, who are you filling in? Are we keeping Doug Christie? You probably might. But now the field of possible coaches is pretty good. But how can you convince Coach Bud to join us? Probably not, because he went from one shit show to the next, and he probably doesn't want us. Mike Malone doesn't want to fucking be here. He just referred to your owner as having no balls. So Taylor Jenkins, maybe? But I don't know if Taylor Jenkins wants to get stabbed in the back like 2 times in a row.
Yeah. Thing is, I don't know what the market is for Sabonis because he's going to be a borderline all-star, but numbers wise, and he's not good enough to make a difference in the playoffs. And so he kind of puts you in this messy middle, almost by himself. He's that good.
I think that you can. He's trade bait. Like,
Yeah, but I don't know who
Sabonis is-
to.
No,
Like,
I
who-
think that he's absolutely good trade bait. I mean, he has a stat sheet that looks impressive, and you can probably rope a dope someone into taking his fucking contract.
But
Like
who?
that, multiple teams have already done it. Who? It's whichever team feels like they don't have a good starting big, and they want to shake things up and pair up someone up with that likes to do dribble handoffs and can get you at least 20 points and 10 rebounds every game in that
Okay,
position.
so what you're
So I
saying
think
is the
that-
Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, the Charlotte Hornets would probably trade. I think that whatever, maybe even anyone in the East that's like the bottom tier of that.
Yeah, maybe
I'm going to assume that the Kings don't actually tear it down and do a full rebuild. They're convinced that they can win now with, these aged vets from the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah,
And so what that means, let me finish, please. What
yes.
that probably means is you would decline Keon Ellis's team option, making him a restricted agent, and use the RFA leverage to secure Ellis on a multi-year contract. I would still probably offer Jack LaRavia the most you're allowed. It's probably not enough. Someone's probably going to give him a better contract. You got to at least try because he was good.
Yeah, Jake's pretty good.
And
Yeah.
you should find a trade partner for DeRozan and Levine, but you can't.
I
No
don't
one's
think
going to
there's
take
a market.
them.
I don't think
Not
there's a
for
market for
DeRozan.
Levine. DeRozan,
that
there might
means-
be.
DeRozan, there might be.
'Cause he's making half as much.
Okay.
But then
Oh,
that
yeah,
leaves
contract cap.
Sabonis and Monk. And again, I already said this. I think that you can probably get a pretty good deal for Monk, but Sabonis is a weird outlier. So maybe
Yes.
you're just stuck running Sabonis, although I'm pretty confident he's going to fucking flip a shit fit when he finds out that he has to play with Levine and DeRozan for another year.
Yeah, so I think
There's been a lot of talks that the Kings are going to at least make an offer to get Kevin Durant, which is going to fucking kill me.
yeah, who would you even let me pull up the trade machine.
They have the money. They have also picks to give. So, I mean, they have valuable picks to give.
They do. They're Kings picks.
Yeah.
Gold. Purple gold.
That's the thing is like the Kings actually have that. That's the reason why I don't think that the Kings are the worst position in the world, because they have actual picks to give. It's just I would rather.
I mean, no,
just,
they're not the Sixers. So
they're not the
worst position in
Sixers. They're
world.
not the Suns. And that's the weird thing is that like I bet the ownership feels as if they don't deserve to be punished, because it turns out, I hate to say this, gents, the bottom of the West is way worse than we ever imagined it would be. Like look, I'm not saying that the Western Conference is as top heavy as the Eastern Conference, because Jesus fucking Christ, but it's still top heavy. It's still incredibly top heavy.
If you were going to trade Kevin Durant, because the Suns are over the apron, second apron, they cannot aggregate players in a trade. Can they get two guys back? So if you trade, let's say Kevin Durant, you're getting Kevin Durant, and you send out Zach LaVine and Keon Ellis.
Yep.
That work.
And at least 2 firsts.
Yeah, that works. You can do that. As long as you get Kevin Durant back. You shouldn't. That's a bad trade. You shouldn't do that.
They're absolutely going to do that. They will absolutely at least offer that.
Yeah. Zach LaVine isn't very good, so...
No, he's been fine. I mean, he's been Zach LaVine. Like,
he's been like Zach LaVine.
He's been playing very hard. He doesn't care that the team has a losing record. He has a high up-tempo pace, and he's averaging like there was a period where he was averaging 40 points on 68% on threes, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, maybe he is going to lead the Kings." And then it's like, "Oh wait, now he's averaging 25%." Fuck, right, Zach LaVine. So yeah, I don't know, man.
He plays the same regardless of.
He's been the same player every single year. It would have made sense to have him like circa 3 or 4 years ago. He actually would have been a nice pair up with Fox, and that they're kind of the same player, but they're both fast, and
one of them shoots better.
Yeah, one of them shoots better, so that means the other one can pass the ball more. Except, good luck trying to convince Zach LaVine to pass the fucking ball.
Yeah, the Kings are gonna be stuck in like the sugar high.
They're basically where the Bradley Beal Wizards were, which is they're gonna be okie doke. And
they're going to be the 10 to the 8th seed.
And unfortunately, they're okie doke in the Western Conference, so you have so little wiggle room, unless you think that next year, or next season, I should say, like you're going to have 5 teams where everybody's bodies explodes and they're now completely unable to win.
Which was how the Kings made their first playoff push, their sugar high.
Then also the Dallas Mavericks fucking traded Luka Doncic. That didn't help. That helped them also.
I mean, 2 years ago when Mike Brown won Coach of the Year, and it was like, oh wow, that was unsustainable, and then it immediately proved to be unsustainable. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was more to the success that year than they got lucky. I think that they had an identity. They had players that were on a contract year, so they had a reason to like actually go it all. And
everyone else got hurt also.
Then everyone also got hurt the year after that, and then that tanked morale. And then here you are. You have a team that is okie doke. Like, you can't tank. If you have Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, you cannot tank. This is the part that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you're going to be a 35 to 42 win team with those two guys, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Sabonis, you have 3 guys who will just prop up your win total, but will also prevent you from ever winning more than like 50 games.
So great job. Cool. I'm prepared for this. I've got alcohol.
So-
I'm ready. I think that they win this first play-in game. They should win against the Dallas Mavericks because the Dallas Mavericks are a fucking
Yeah, I mean, they
disaster.
should.
It
If they
should.
don't, then that means either the team gave up or something happened.
So thankfully, my Denver Nuggets, my venting will be hopefully a little bit less because the team fired Michael Malone, the head coach, last week when we were recording this. They also fired their general manager, Calvin Booth. Do either of you know like the background of that? Should I give some background because it's weird?
Yeah,
if
so
you
Calvin
weren't
Booth
following.
is a dipshit, and he absolutely deserved to get fired. I will never forget the goddamn interview that he did during this season where he's like, I want to maximize the potential of our young players, even if it comes at the cost of us not repeating. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, I understand what he means conceptually, but you have the best player in the entire league, maybe the world. You're wasting fucking Jokic's prime by forcing, Mike Malone to play these young players that Mike Malone just doesn't like playing young players.
No. So
He
for,
just doesn't.
for our listeners, basically it was a power struggle between the coach wanting to play, as EP said, certain players, and the GM bringing other dudes in and saying, you need to play these guys now. More or less.
Yeah. So I am actually more of a Calvin Booth guy in this struggle than a Malone guy. With my reasoning being, the Denver Nuggets have 6 players who are not on a minimum contract on their entire roster. They have Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. all on maxes, Aaron Gordon on a big contract but not a max, Zeke Naji on a very small contract, and Dario Saric on a mini mid-level. Everyone else is either on a rookie deal, a veterans minimum, or a second-round draft pick rookie contract, which is below even a rookie scale contract. So they basically have no money to pay people with. Because they have Jokic, Murray, and Porter, and this new CBA has come in, the only way they can get money to sign like vets that Michael Malone would like is by letting one of these guys go, or you can get veteran minimum contract guys, and you can do like what the Bucks are doing every year, or what the Warriors do every year, where they just bring in veterans minimum guys, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're awful. And so drafting a bunch of young guys who you can bring up in your system, who, regardless of what coaches think sometimes, just being younger and having juice in your legs counts for something, right? It's still an athletic sport. Having people who can run and jump, and some of them who can shoot, you can do it. Like Jokic is that good. So I completely understood Booth's idea. Like, let's get some young guys in who we can teach. We have control of them for 4 years. We can then re-sign them if they're good. We can trade them for veterans if we need to later, if they prove themselves to be good. I get it. That's how you get a bunch of cost-controlled contracts, and you get stability, and you can build. Michael Malone actively hated most of the people he brought in. And just
Except
refused to play
Christian
them.
Braun for some reason. Like, he was the one that actually got on his good side and got starting minutes.
There were actually rumors that he was saying they should trade him last trade deadline. There were rumors that he wanted Christian traded. There were rumors that he wanted several of their young guys who you think of as the good ones traded. So he legitimately buried some of these players out of spite. And Calvin Booth also traded away or did not re-sign veterans that Michael Malone would have wanted, so that he basically moneyballed him. You know, if you remember the scene in Moneyball where Billy Beane just like trades away an all-star level player so that the GM or the manager has to play the players for his strategy. That's basically what happened here. And yeah, it was toxic, and so both of them had to go. The GM and the head coach both got fired about a week ago with 3 games left in the season. Now, as someone who's been to a good number of Nuggets games this year and who's watched almost all of them, the team was pretty dysfunctional throughout most of the year. There were a lot of injuries. to almost every player missed time, significant amounts of time. Jokic, Murray, Porter, except Porter, actually. Porter was healthy most of the season. Aaron Gordon's been off and on. So of the 3 max guys, or 4 guys who have been paid, 3 of them were in and out a lot of the year. So I understand it wasn't necessarily the fairest hand that was dealt to Michael Malone, but also the vibes were awful most of the year. Like, the team was not trying on defense pretty visibly, and it wasn't. I think he had something to do with that. I think that the team, to some extent, was kind of over it. It's kind of amazing that he even won the title as the head coach. Like, the coaches who get brought in to help young teams get over the hump usually don't survive long enough to be the coach who wins the title. You know what I mean? Like, Mark Jackson helped the Warriors have a commitment to defense and all that sort of stuff. And then the second they lost him and got Steve Kerr in there, who had a better X's and O's mind and better rapport with the players, it went to the stratosphere, like, instantly. A lot of times it takes another player, another coach. Like, Jason Kidd helped get Giannis to be the player he is now. Bud was the guy who got that team to be better than that. Malone lasting 10 years as the, like, starter coach, who built a culture and who wasn't, like, the best X's and O's guy compared to some other coaches, like, that's uncommon. And I'm glad he won the, most games in Nuggets team history this year. He broke the record, franchise records for wins. That's awesome. But I think the team probably honestly has a better chance of winning a title without him than with him this season, given his rotations and given some of his proclivities. Like, he did not want to drive the car that he had, and he just kept driving it off the road despite the GM, and would not use the tools that were in his. He wouldn't use some of the clubs in his bag unless people got hurt. And that sucks, to tie your own hand behind your back deliberately like that. Like, he would not bench Russell Westbrook if Russell Westbrook was playing poorly. It happens very regularly. He would not play Jalen Pickett, who is a pretty steady backup point guard, to spell Russell Westbrook. He just refused to do it. He would bench Peyton Watson, who is a small forward who's got a lot of promise. He's maybe the best shot blocking small forward in the league. He just would pull him if he made a dumb play. But then, he would leave in Jokic for like 42 minutes or something. He would play Aaron Gordon. Like, these guys are getting older, and he would run some of these dudes into the ground because he just refused to take guys out. Like, his move is always play his starters longer. It's a very Tibbsian sort of thing. And so I don't think that was going to work for another playoff run.
I just have to interject. I think you are burying the lead as to why I think that unless you do something incredibly extreme, your clock might be out of time. Unless this team does something very extreme, which is trade everyone except Jokic and maybe Christian Braun and Jalen Pickett, OKC's timeline is so much better than yours. And the problem is that you're dealing with some pretty heavy contracts, especially Michael Porter Jr.'s and Jamal Murray's, where you're going to really struggle with this new CBA. I mean, obviously, we've mentioned this before. The Bucks are going to get fucked harder, but the Nuggets are number 2 in terms of teams that are contending worthy, that are going to genuinely get irreparably hurt by this new CBA and their ability to maintain long-term success.
Yeah, assuming that we've already dismissed the Suns, which I think we can.
Yeah, I think that's safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's really that's why it's a tough spot. Like, the easiest thing to do here is to trade Michael Porter and split his contract, him into like 3 players, 2 or 3 players, his contract. This new CBA really punishes you for having 3 max deals. And unfortunately, the Nuggets signed all of them before this CBA existed. And it's tough.
And it's really going to be a pain in the ass to work around. But Jamal Murray's contract, I understand why you did it when it first happened. But it is the albatross around your neck right now, especially considering that you're having such a hard time getting him to play more than 50 games per season the last 2 years.
I would say that MPJ is the problem because Jamal, in terms of contracts, because Jamal Murray, when he's good, is worth a max contract. Michael Porter Jr. at no point in his career has been worth a max contract. He's been a really good role player, like an A plus role player, he should make like 10 to $15 million less than he does. And that's the difference, right? There should be another player making that 10 to $15 million. There should be a Bruce Brown making that 10 to $15 million.
And you let Bruce Brown walk and thought that it
Oh.
was nothing big. Like, I don't know what to tell
That's
you,
not
man.
true. He walked for $20 million. The Nuggets could offer him 6. There was no way he was staying. Like most of the guys who Calvin Booth let walk have been significantly worse or not worth the money that they got. Like KCP falling off a cliff. Jeff Green riding the pine in Houston. Bruce Brown got $20 million. He was a walking trade exception. It's not that he's a bad player. It's that he's not worth $20 million, and the Nuggets couldn't have paid him 20 even if they wanted to. So I don't think the like letting people walk thing is an actual critique. There wasn't money to spend. You would have had to deal one of these other guys to get the money.
Well, there was money to spend if you didn't spend it on Michael Porter Jr. is the point.
Well, Tim Connolly spent it on him 2 years ago. 3 years ago. Like it's not Calvin Booth was not the dude who gave him that contract. Yeah, like the Nuggets overpaid him, hoping that he'd get better, and he's gotten better. He just hasn't gotten better enough. So I think they've still got a puncher's chance because they have the best player in the world. They haven't been healthy until like the last 2 games. Like they haven't had their whole roster until right now. So we'll see. I think they've got a chance.
I think the problem is that you have maybe 2 of the young players that I think are worthy of keeping and Jokic. Everyone else needs to go. Like they need to go.
I don't believe that.
Because I absolutely believe that. Because then how are you beating the Rockets and OKC? That's what it's going to come down to.
I mean, beating the Rockets isn't going to be hard. They aren't going to be there.
Excuse me? What?
Rockets aren't going to be there. Let's be real here. They are the Memphis Grizzlies of 2 years ago. They are going to lose in the first or second round because their advantage was effort, and now they're in the playoffs and everyone's giving effort. Their offense is doo-doo. It's poopy doo-doo.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the Houston Rockets roster, I have very little faith in them hanging out. Like
Yeah.
OKC is definitely a problem for y'all.
OKC's a problem. OKC's a real
Rockets, not
problem.
so much.
Rockets are not going to be there. They are going to lose in the first or second round because their offense is propped up by transition and steals. Like that's where they get their points. If your best offensive player is Jalen Green, I don't think you're making it very far in the playoffs. But the OKC, they'll be a problem. But Nuggets on paper should have a better starting lineup than OKC. OKC is better from 6 to 15. But the Nuggets 1 to 5 should be better. So we'll see. It's the playoffs. The Rockets and the Thunder are both teams that are really good on depth, really good on youth, really good on energy. And when you can do prep and other teams are trying just as hard as you, like that was what undid them last year. So we'll see. I am not doom and gloom on the Nuggets. I actually am pretty optimistic that they'll be at least exciting. So shall we look at? Can we pivot to one topic at least, 1 or 2 topics before we go to our predictions?
True.
Sure.
Luka Doncic trade, Pete.
Oof.
How do you feel?
So I mean, I did a lot of reading on this at the time because it was obviously inexplicable, and the only reasonable thing I can understand, and even now I don't even think this is necessarily a great explanation, but I can at least wrap my head around it, is that this was a business move, purely business. This has nothing to do with basketball. So the individuals who own the Mavericks are casino magnates. It was a casino guy. He's dead now, I think, and his wife.
Sheldon
took over
Adelman.
ownership- Thank you. Took over ownership of the franchise. And I think they're exclusively angling to get the team in Las Vegas. That's what they've always wanted. They've always wanted a team in Vegas, and they want that team. So I don't think it's as nefarious as Adam Silver, like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You give LA the most famous player in the world, and we'll move you to Las Vegas. But I do think they saw the writing on the wall, saw the new CBA coming, never really cared about the Mavericks in the first place, and said, this is our chance to try to get pole position for Las Vegas.
That's definitely a theory. Or this could just be the worst trade we've ever seen in our lifetime.
I mean, it can't be. How could I have to believe no GM is this incompetent.
Remember when we recorded one of our early episodes and we really thought the Porzingis trade was the worst trade that we had ever seen?
I don't even remember the Porzingis trade.
So we've seen bad trades. I think that this might just be gross incompetence because it seems like I don't know, man. It is the worst. I've come around to it. I was still holding out, thinking that I thought that the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce trade for the Brooklyn Nets was worse. And now I don't think that the Lakers are going to make this deep postseason push, and they have no motivation to make a deep postseason push. But they have seemingly future-proofed their team in the event that LeBron is actually done. And it seems like he has actually started to pass the burden of the offense onto Luka, as you would do if you had Luka Doncic. But I don't know, Gino, is this the worst trade ever? I think so.
Yeah, I would say this is the worst trade ever. It is a trade so bad that if you think the conspiracy explanations are more compelling than the basketball explanations, and even if it is truly a basketball decision, that the Dallas Mavericks truly thought that having one of the 2 or 3 best playoff performers in the NBA was a handicap in some way, and really what they should have been doing was building around Anthony Davis's glass knees. And that was going to be the secret because defense wins championships, which they were in the finals last year with that guy. I don't understand how you could think, oh man, yeah, we made it to the finals, but that was a fluke behind this guy who's like carried our asses to the Western Conference Finals multiple times. We need to tie our hitch to Anthony Davis, who, as the best player on a team that didn't feature LeBron James, like these Pelicans got knocked out in the first round like every year. It made no sense. Famously unreliable man. Like, we are going all in on 30-plus-year-old, 10-plus years in the league players. That's what we're going to do. Both of whom have long checkered injury histories. Instead of Luka Doncic, who's one of the most reliable contributors in the NBA, and he's in his mid-20s. Like, bonkers decision-making.
You're also really relying a lot on a current era version of Kyrie Irving, which,
yes.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, how could you? Like, he could get hurt. He could just decide tomorrow he doesn't want to play basketball anymore. He could blow up your entire locker room. Like, you've empowered, and now you have to re-sign him, right? Like, you have no choice.
So now I had to pull this up. So I had to pull this up.
To answer your question, DP, worst trade I've ever seen.
Okay, so this is the Dallas Mavericks injury report for their last game. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So Kyrie Irving, torn ACL, out indefinitely.
Torn ACL? Dang.
Torn ACL. Great, right?
Uh-huh.
Jaden Hardy, ankle sprain, day to day. So I would probably just have the team lose against the Kings because there's no reason to fucking play any of these players. Okay, Caleb Martin, strained hip, out. Anthony Davis, strained abductor, out indefinitely. Daniel Gafford, sprained MCL, out indefinitely. Derek Lively II, ankle stress fracture, out indefinitely. You have 4 players who are now listed as out indefinitely. And again, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. We maybe forgot to talk about that, but
the plan was to build around Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, both of whom have. Let me see when the last time either one of them played 70-plus games was. The answer might be never.
I feel like he did it during that bubble season.
So Kyrie Irving.
Wait, no, that was
the last time Kyrie Irving played 70 games was 2016-17 when he was 24 years old. That's the last time he played 70 games.
How many? There's more than 70 games in a season, right?
Yeah, there's 82.
Yeah, that's a lot more, actually.
Let's see. Last time Anthony Davis. Oh wow! Last year he actually played 76. That was his most games he'd played since 2017-18. He was 24. But every other season he missed at least 20 games. So yeah, you bet on Anthony Davis's one healthy season in the last 8 years. Way to go, champs! Ridiculous. Okay.
They also don't
any
have
other
a
thoughts?
first round pick until 2027.
Also
the
great.
Mavericks.
Also awesome.
Yeah,
And
fuck.
it's a first round pick from CHO. Is that Charlotte? Or is
Yes,
that
that's Charlotte.
Charlotte? The PJ Washington trade.
Oh.
And then the one after that is a 2028 first round pick swap with OKC. So it's actually OKC's first round pick. So that's going to be really, really valuable, guys. That team.
How do you not get Austin Reeves if you're Dallas?
Ah,
How do
man,
you
Austin
only
Reeves.
get Maximum Christie?
I mean, there was no negotiation.
Yeah.
They just accepted the very first deal they were offered in the hopes of secrecy. Ooh.
I want to thank the people. This is Nico. I want to thank them for keeping this under the wraps and not revealing it. It's like, of course they did. They didn't want other teams to hear about this because they would have had a better deal.
You tell an intern and you tell that intern, they shut the hell up.
All right. What's the second storyline you wanted to talk? Oh, can we talk about the Suns?
Yes,
Sure.
that was my other second
I'm gonna put
storyline.
my
Is
foot
can we
down. I
fiddle
wanna
on that
talk about the
grave?
Suns.
Can we fiddle on that grave? That was my second storyline.
Oh,
Please.
man. Oh, boy. That team is fucking toast, dude.
I can say comfortably here in Tucson, no one cares at all.
Well, that's good. I just want to say I feel this is my take. There are two takes that I feel this year I was the most correct on. One was that the Phoenix Suns were going to be a dumpster fire in some way, shape, or form. I just had no concept of how bad they would be. I thought they'd be an 8 seed. Instead, they're not going to make the playoffs. Or no, they're not going to make the play-in, which is even funnier. My other one was that the Milwaukee Bucks trading for Kyle Kuzma was basically franchise suicide.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like the wheels have been coming off, especially. I think that you just have to accept the fact that the Damon Giannis experiment is a failure.
I know, but I think that basically brought in an agent of chaos who makes your team worse. By trading for Kuzma, and there were some people who were like, well, Middleton's always hurt, and it's like, yeah, Middleton's always hurt, but Middleton, when he's healthy, has played competent basketball. Kyle Kuzma has almost never played competent basketball. It seems like it's just bad to have him on your team. But the Phoenix Suns, Pete, would you say that Bradley Beal holds all the cards?
What a horrible sentence. I've never in my life heard a more reprehensible sentence about the NBA.
What, if you had to guess, Pete, where do you think Bradley Beal is in terms of just shooting guards in the NBA? This player who has a max contract. Would you rather have Bradley Beal or Christian Brown?
I mean, I guess. Do contracts matter?
Of course they do.
Oh well, yeah, Christian Brown. Like, what? How much? Bradley Beal's probably getting what? Like,
It's the worst
I don't know.
contract in the league. Let's not.
I was gonna say,
max.
is he still on Wizards money?
Yeah.
Yes,
He's getting a max.
he's
a
getting
max
a max, and he
player,
also has a
yeah.
no trade clause.
Okay, so that is terrible. I do think Embiid's contract is still worse.
So let me pull
No
up.
trade clause too.
Let me find Bradley
I mean,
Beal's.
Embiid might as well have a no
I'm gonna
trade
side
clause.
with Gino.
Who's going to take him?
I think that Bradley Beal's contract is genuinely unmovable.
Well, it literally is. You can't trade him. So next year, Bradley Beal gets $53 million.
Fuck.
Year after that, he has a player option for $57 million. And I think straight up, like, he might be the 20th best shooting guard in the NBA.
That might
Maybe.
even be generous. Yeah.
It might be generous. I think I might just take Christian Brown on the merits, like not even including the contract. I might just take him on merits. Let's see. What was his PR this year? I just want to see what his advanced stats are this year.
I'm sure they're glowing.
He was awful.
I mean, you're also forgetting the part where there was a period of time where I want to say Yusuf Nurkic was maybe the worst starter in the entire goddamn league. And
Yeah.
it was something just seeing him on the court starting. And it was him, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, God,
Kevin Durant
KD, and then him. And
and
that would
Tyus
mean
Jones. Has anyone
fucking
ruined their
Kevin Durant
mystique?
was the best defender with their starting team when they were all healthy and playing. Like, just
Yeah,
think
he
about that.
was. It was awful. Has
And
anyone
just
damaged their reputation more than Tyus Jones this year? Like there was a while there where people were like, could he be a starter? He's a really sneaky, good backup point guard for the Grizzlies. And now it's just like he was on a minimum contract and had zero impact on that team. Did not matter one bit. Bradley Beal is he's got a negative box plus minus, which is sick. A value over replacement player at 0.4, sick. Win shares
Negative plus
2.4.
minus.
Negative box plus minus. Hell yeah.
yeah.
And what if I could tell you he played 53 games this year, so he also wasn't healthy.
I mean, if you have a negative plus minus, that's a selling point.
It is. They did get better when he got hurt.
Yeah.
How long do you think it's been since he played 70 games in a season, Pete?
3 years.
Nope.
Am
20
I'm assuming more.
18, 19.
It's
been
been 7.
It's been 6 or 7 years since he's played 70
gosh.
games in a season. But ridiculous. Just the Suns. And I just to your point, ZP, about the center situation. The fact that they split their center position, how many different centers did they go through, getting worse each time?
Nurkic, Ayton.
Well,
now
Ayton into
it's,
Nurkic.
Nick Richards. They had a Plumlee. I think they still have a Plumlee.
Yeah,
and then they signed Bol.
So yes, they at points this season. So last year they had Ayton. Then they turned Dominatin into Nurkic and Drew Eubanks.
Pete, I think that, or Pete or Gino, whoever asked, like, whose reputation tanked the most this year, I actually think it's DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, he's up there. He's definitely up there.
He will not be in the league very soon.
Well, he'll be a backup.
He'll
be a backup.
Oh, he'll be a backup
much
next year, but
reputation in
that's
a long
it.
time.
I think next season, unless things turn around, like next season is it for him.
Yeah. And they turned Yusuf Nurkic into Nick Richards, the backup center for the Charlotte Hornets. And that didn't work. That didn't work either. And then they had Bol on a minimum and started starting him at center. It's incredible. Just so dire. Oh man, the Phoenix Suns. And Matt Ishbia, I think it's very fitting that the peak of this era of the Suns was him being pissy, holding the ball from Jokic, and then flopping to draw a technical foul on Nikola Jokic in the playoffs. That's the height of this ownership.
And then I pinged you. The current scuttlebutt is that now that they've fired Coach Bud, which
and they fired their coach today.
I don't blame Coach Bud for these problems because this was an untenable situation. But I think, Pete, you've not seen this, but apparently the Suns' top target for their coaching search is Chauncey Billups.
Chauncey! They saw how good JJ's doing. They're like, get us one.
He has a job already. He coaches for Portland.
Yeah, I mean, what if you got him to walk? I don't know, man.
So he could do this?
Yeah,
so he could sign on to this?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
All right, let's take a look at our preseason predictions.
Oh, God.
I bet they were on point.
Okay, yeah, we must, unfortunately. MVP, you're going to like this one. Pete, you had Anthony Edwards, so that's probably a no.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not bad, Yeah.
And folks who are listening, you didn't get to hear us make these predictions, so you're learning what we predicted several months earlier. ZP, you had
Fourth
Shea.
in the league in scoring.
Okay, I did okay.
You're gonna win.
Shay's a good pick.
Shea was a good pick because Jokic. He's gonna average a triple double, and he's not gonna get it. You
know what? I know that most people are like it technically it should go to I'm okay with Shea getting it over Jokic because I think that he genuinely had a good season, and I think that if you're going to give it to someone that's not Jokic, it makes sense to give it to him.
I,
Also, I feel like OKC might be the most disrespected team of this year. Like no one in the media talked about them properly. There was no conversation that they had in which they put proper respect on them as a team. And if Shea gets it, and we can finally have a conversation about OKC actually being this beast, like being a historically good defense and a historically good, well, not super historically, but like this year, good offense, like good, like genuinely good. I'm happy for
I
them.
just think too, why should Gino have so much?
Yeah.
I like him. I don't like him that much. You know,
So I picked Luka Doncic because I thought Jokic would average a triple double, and they still wouldn't give it to him. And I think I'm going to be right on that one. Um,
I think
look,
next year, Luka Doncic is absolutely the pick for MVP. I mean,
yeah, Luka got hurt this year, so he's not eligible. Um, yeah, I think ZP, you probably got that one. Defensive Player of the Year, we all had Victor Wembanyama, and he got hurt. Curse
Yeah,
you, deep
that's
vein
a wash.
thrombosis. So it's probably going to be either Draymond Green or Triple J or Evan Mobley, one of those three.
I would really prefer it to be Evan Mobley, but yeah.
Me too. Most improved player, Pete had Scotty Barnes.
It's got a.
Probably no. ZP had Jalen Williams. Maybe. That's another good pick.
Yeah.
In the running. And I had Scoot Henderson. Bad pick.
Oof. Oof.
Bad pick.
Who's the betting favorite for most improved?
I don't know.
I'll
I'm
look
gonna
it up.
look
It might
this
be
up.
Cade Cunningham.
Yeah. I mean,
Rookie of the year, Pete had Zach Edey. I don't think that's going to happen.
Nope. I took a swing
ZP
on that one.
ZP had
It's Dyson Daniels, by the way. Oh wait, no,
oh
they're
yeah,
not.
he
Why are they?
deserves.
I,
He
I,
deserves.
yeah, it's him.
Yeah.
Okay. ZP had Reed Shepard. That's definitely not happening.
Nope.
And I had Alex Sarr. That's also probably not happening. Coach of the year, Pete had Jamal Mosley. Nope. Probably not, just because of injuries. ZP had Taylor Jenkins. Fired.
It's a tough one.
That's a tough beat. That's a bad beat, ZP. Sorry. I had Ime Udoka in the running, but probably won't get it. But my prediction was correct. They did come in second. Like, they did make a gigantic leap. And people seem to have just gotten over the fact that he did some stuff in Boston. Sixth man of the year, Pete had Dante DiVincenzo. Probably no.
Probably
I
not.
think. VP had Malik Monk. He's a starter
Yeah,
now.
he started. So
yeah, and I had Russell
great
Westbrook.
problem with our predictions in terms of sixth man of the year, which is the player ends up starting.
Yeah, and I had Russell Westbrook. That's also probably not going to happen.
Wait, you forgot of your rant
bold
about
move.
the Nuggets. You didn't go over like your roller coaster of a year of Russell Westbrook.
And that is part of why the Malone firing made sense to me, because he was playing over 30 minutes a night for a good long while, and that's too much. He should be
but
like
there
15.
was that brief period where it seemed like Russ was figuring it out and he was actually net positive. There was that like brief, like 1.5 month period where things were good. And Nuggets fans were talking about, we got him. And it's like, oh God, we got him.
And it was the problem was he is great at stampeding over lesser teams. And if you play him with the starters, literally everyone looks good with Jokic. When he has to lead a bench unit, he thinks he's the best player on the court, and all the time. And he calls his own number way too much. And he can't shoot still. That's a problem. Playoff teams. Pete, you had Celtics, Bucks, 76ers, Raptors, Hawks, Cavs, Magic, Knicks. So you're going to be wrong on the 76ers and the Raptors.
Yeah.
But the other ones are viable. ZP, you had Celtics, Knicks, Cavs, Bucks, 76ers, Pacers, Miami, Orlando. You are live except for the 76ers.
Okay.
And I had the Celtics, Knicks, Cavs, Bucks, 76ers, Pacers, Miami, Orlando. I had the same picks as you. We are both live except for the 76ers. But we will probably be wrong about Miami. So looks like each of us probably had 6. I'm going to
Mhm.
guess, but we'll see. Western Conference playoff teams. Pete, you had Thunder, Lakers, Mavs, Grizzlies, Nuggets, Pelicans, Suns, Wolves. So it looks like you're going to have 5 with the Pelicans, Suns, and Mavs probably not making it. ZP, you had Thunder, Suns, Wolves, Mavs, Nuggets, Warriors, Grizzlies, Kings. So you are also going to have 5. The Suns, Mavs, and Kings probably not making it. I'm sorry to break this news to you.
Oh well.
Oh, I mean, we could all get wrong by the Grizzlies missing too. That's also in play. Or the Warriors. I had Thunder, Mavs, Nuggets, Wolves, Suns, Grizzlies, Rockets, Pelicans. So I definitely missed on 3. Mavs, Suns, Pelicans. We all missed on the Mavs, the Suns, and the Pelicans.
I mean, I think we all should get a pass on the Mavs. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And Lakers not making ZP and I's lists benefited from the trade. Like, that's why they made the playoffs. And then the champs, Pete, you had the Celtics versus the Thunder. ZP had the Thunder beating the Celtics, and I had the Nuggets beating the Celtics. We're all still technically live. The playoffs haven't started yet.
I feel good about my pick then.
I do too. Because I am an optimist eternally. All right. That's the NBA, I think. Unless there was something else y'all wanted to talk about.
No, I mean, I think this is
Uh,
generally bleak year. I don't know. Would
Yeah.
y'all agree?
Like again, a pretty bad regular season. Like I think that we're gonna have to have a conversation about like whether or not this league and these players can continue to do 82 games, especially considering how many injuries there were this year. Like it was pretty bad. I know, Gino, that we
Mhm.
generally are a more Western focused team other than Pete, but who do you actually like? How much do you actually buy the Cavs
I buy them as a
being
very
the
good
real
team.
thing? Okay.
I think they're the real deal.
All right, let's go down. Let's see how far down before we feel like, yeah, this is a scam. The Boston Celtics,
They're the real deal.
Yeah, they won last year.
the New York Knicks.
Not a real team.
Okay, so like that's my point. Is the Eastern Conference basically going to be those two teams?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Pacers have a weird puncher's chance because they play so fast. The Knicks are going to be, their knees will be powder. The Bucks, I mean, as
Are
long
a
as Dame
disaster.
isn't there, they don't have a chance. And then, yeah,
The
I don't think
Pistons might get
Detroit's.
sneaky and make it a little bit further than you'd think, but
They might make the
that's
second
because
round, but that'd be the end of it.
they're young and they're healthy. But yeah,
That'd be the end of it, is the second round. And then in the West, I mean, it's chaos. I think OKC is a step above everyone else, but I think they're beatable. Just
I think that you can argue that the Lakers right now, even though they're third, I think they're the second best team in the West.
I think honestly, it is Thunder, and then you could make a case for almost every team that's making the playoffs having some weird puncher's chance, and I'd buy it. I like the difference.
Clippers?
I mean, now that Kawhi's healthy, yeah, the Clippers.
They've
Yeah,
been the number 1 offense and the number 1 defense, number 2 offense. It's one or the other.
Okay.
They won 8 in a
last
row,
20
and
games.
largely because Kawhi is healthy again. Like,
Look,
surprise.
I
when
don't buy
Kawhi is
it.
healthy, that team is good.
I don't believe that they will be healthy for very long. I don't believe in James Harden in the playoffs, but on paper, they've got a weird puncher's chance. I think the only team that doesn't is probably the Grizzlies. Just because
Yeah, but then
so
you
sad.
know what's going to happen is like Jaw's going to get photoed with his guns again, and he's going to get suspended, and now the team's fucked.
Yeah, or he decided to switch to grenades now that he's gotten fined for the guns.
that would be very funny. He's become a sword guy. Oh, man. But, like, I mean, the standings in the West, almost every team that's going to make the playoffs is within, like, 4 wins or losses of each other. It's nuts. Except the Thunder. There's so many ties in the West. So, yeah, I think if you had put basically any team between 2 and 8 into the Eastern Conference, they would be the 3rd seed in the East comfortably. So yeah, it's a fun. Can I just throw one little bit of shade before we sign off?
Sure.
Tiny little bit. What the Utah Jazz did this year is despicable, and the fact that they got away with it because there were other sadder storylines is kind of shitty. They basically tanked. They threw away an entire year of Lauri Markkanen's career with
Yeah.
like fake injuries and shit because he made their team too good.
And they still have Colin Sexton.
And that sucks. That sucks so much. Like Lauri Markkanen, 47 games played. They somehow won 17 games when the Washington Wizards are in the NBA. And you put Cooper Flagg at the top of the draft, and all of a sudden the Utah Jazz are really interested in tanking. Wonder why that is. Super weird. Oh, well.
Yeah, and there were teams that were knocking about getting Lauri Markkanen, and I know
put
that
him on
they
the shelf.
technically couldn't trade him in part because they classified him as being injured. But I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, like they made a
Sam
mockery of this
Hinkie
year.
proved that it's not about getting one ping pong ball; it's about getting them all.
I know. But what they did this year, I feel like it wasn't called out in real time. The Washington Wizards are embarrassing. But, Washington Wizards are committing manslaughter. The Utah Jazz are committing murder. And I feel like they should be ashamed about it. That's all. Okay. That's it for another episode of Balls Deep. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah. Always excited to talk hoops with all y'all.
To ZP.
Yeah, the pants are already off.
And thank you, dear listeners. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show, deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and you can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Until next time, peace.